Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the webinar for today event. With the topic today is digital transformation in the business landscape, best practice and case study. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Novita, and I will be your hosting for today event. Now, let's please welcome our first presenter, Dr. Kindya Ise, as a college dean and assistant professor from Debre Tabor University, Ethiopia, to the Honorable Miss Aftuqa Sholikatur Rohmania as a head of Management Department, STEKOM University, Indonesia, and last Mr. Mikhail Jasienski, PhD, as a PhD professor or Vice-Rector for Research and Development. Yeah, for today's session is being live streamed on Universitas Tekom YouTube channel. First, we will start with Indonesia national anthems and continue for the main presentation by our special guest for today. Okay, now let's please. We will start for this event today. For Miss Kinan, you can play for Indonesia national anthems. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much for Miss Kinan. Yeah, I will start for presentation today. Now, please let me welcome our first presenter, Dr. Kindya Esa, from Debre Tabor University, Ethiopia. For Dr. Kindya, the time is yours. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. In our timing, it is in the morning now. Good morning, everyone. I'm from Ethiopia, from East Africa. I'm going to present an international webinar on intellectual property rights.
Yeah, sure.
Large companies. Therefore, today I'm going to present an important concept on intellectual property right. Therefore, when I want to present about intellectual property right, the main issue is nowadays globalization is happening in digital world. Therefore, how can we associate the intellectual property right concept in digitalization as well as globalization? Therefore, what are the contents to be covered? Next slide, Novita. The contents that will be covered in this webinar is what is the definition of intellectual property. First, I would like to defend the intellectual property, and also I would like to assess the historical background of intellectual property. Therefore, when intellectual property was started and how it was started, therefore I will start with that. And also I would like to cover what are the advantages as well as the disadvantages of intellectual property. Though intellectual property has some advantages, there is also some disadvantage that is associated with intellectual property. And also I would like to introduce about World Intellectual Property Organization. There is an international organization which is working on intellectual property rights. Therefore, I would like to talk about it. And also, I would like to talk about the types of intellectual property rights. There are different types of intellectual property rights. And also, I would like to talk about intellectual property right and economic development. What is the relation between intellectual property rights with economic development? Therefore, I would like to talk about these contents in this session. Next slide, please. Okay. Therefore, what is intellectual property? Intellectual property, as most of us knows, it is a property such as an idea, invention, or process that derives from the work of the mind or the intellect of the owner. Therefore, there may be an idea, there may be an invention, or there may be a process that needs protection. Therefore, intellectual property refers to the creation of mind in the form of invention, in the form of literacy, in the form of artistic work, in the form of design, in the form of symbols, names, or images. Therefore, this is what we call the definition of intellectual property right. Therefore, if we have different innovations, if we have different literature, artistic works, designs, and also if we have symbols and names or images for our company, then that has to be protected. Therefore, this is the definition by the World Intellectual Property Organization. Next slide. Okay, what is the historical background of intellectual property? The historical background of intellectual property. When the intellectual property concept starts. Therefore, the earliest records relating to intellectual property right dates back to the 6th century. The 6th century BC from Syrians and Siberians in ancient Greece. Then what was the concept that intellectual property right was? Therefore, it supposedly granted a yearly long exclusives for bakers to make their culinary invention. In a manner of speaking, the rise of intellectual property originated from the rising of a bread also. Therefore, when they prepare bakers, in order to differentiate one baker to another baker, then they are making a symbol. Therefore, because of that reason, in the ancient Greece, then the intellectual property right was started. Therefore, the person who has that design is the owner of that baker. But the modern concept of intellectual property was developed in England, as the literature shows, in the 17th as well as 18th century. Therefore, the concept of intellectual property right is started in long years ago, but still it's very important and it is practicing and in this century also. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you. What is the advantage of intellectual property? What are the advantages of intellectual property? The first one is there are no fees associated with intellectual property. The only fee is just to get right or license. But if you have a product, if you have a service, if you have an idea or innovation or design or symbol, then for that symbol, for that design, since you own it, then you can get license. Therefore, that is what we call, there is no additional fee for having that intellectual property. The other one is ability to have a competitive edge over other similar businesses. This is a very, very important advantage of intellectual property. Nowadays, competition in the global market is very high, very stiff. Even the products that are produced in different countries are also advancing. Therefore, if there is an advancement of product, if there is modernization of production and process designs, therefore, differentiating one company to another company is very important. For example, Samsung company is producing different designs of mobile phones. Apple, iPhone, these companies are producing different designs of companies and products. Therefore, in order to differentiate one company product to another company product, that intellectual property is very important. Intellectual property enhances your company's value. There is a value which we call it a business term, there's a goodwill, right? Therefore, that goodwill comes as a result of intellectual property protection. If you have an innovation, if your company innovates much of products, then you will get an intellectual property. Therefore, that increases your company value. Intellectual property also helps you market your company's products and services in order to easily sell, in order to easily address your company products to consumers, then intellectual property is very important. You can more easily obtain finance for your business. Sometimes companies which have a very good design, which have a very good business idea, a very good product, then they will get support, financial support for that product, for that design, for that intellectual property. Therefore, having intellectual property is also advantageous in order to get finance. You can more easily obtain financing for your business. The other one is for greater export opportunities. If we have an intellectual property, a protected intellectual property, then we can easily reach to the global market. We can easily export our products to importers, to different countries which cannot produce that product. Therefore, these are the advantages of having intellectual property. Next slide, please. Sorry, one slide before. Disadvantages. Okay. Disadvantages of intellectual property. Sometimes there might be additional cost for consumers. A company which has intellectual property protection and a company which do not have intellectual property protection may not charge equal price on the product. Therefore, having intellectual property helps the company in order to charge more on consumers. Therefore, this may be disadvantage because the consumers are expected to pay more. The other one is reduced availability of protected products. If intellectual property is mandatory, then the availability of products will be reduced because some companies may not easily catch. The other one is developing countries are losing from first mover advantage. If all companies has to get intellectual disadvantage, sorry. Next slide, ma'am. Okay. Developing countries are being loser from first mover advantage. Since most of the developing countries are following developing countries, they're losing the first mover advantage. Therefore, this is the disadvantage of intellectual property. If a given product is already protected, then another company which imitates or which copy that product will be subject to penalty because intellectual property is already protected. Therefore, for developing countries, there may be the disadvantage of first mover advantage. The other one, factors such as internet, technology, enforcement, financial empowerment, awareness, and lack of general intellectual property culture hinders the development of intellectual property. This is what I want to talk today now. As we have discussed earlier, intellectual property protection is very important for companies in order to protect their innovations, their products, their services from competitors. Because if they get an intellectual property protection, then others cannot easily imitate or copy without the consent of the innovator or the inventor. But today, because of internet, because of technology, because of the financial empowerment and the awareness as well as general rule at the global level, a company which has intellectual property may imitate another company. So this is a disadvantage. For example, if there's a product produced in China, a manufacturer in Indonesia may produce that product by downloading from internet. But since if there is no a global intellectual property protection right, or a company which manages this intellectual property right, because of internet, because of easily accessing that product, that design, then the intellectual property protection will be lost. Therefore, when globalization is there, when there is an internet, when there is the advancement of economy, then the intellectual property is still important, but the challenge will be there. Next slide, please. Okay. Therefore, because of this reason, there is a World Intellectual Property Organization. This World Intellectual Property Organization is one of the 15 specialized agencies under the United Nations, which we call the United Nations, as we know. The headquarters is in Geneva, Switzerland, which was founded in 1967. It has about 193 member states. Therefore, what is the function of this World Intellectual Property Organization? This World Intellectual Property Organization function is to promote the worldwide protection of both industrial properties like inventions, trademarks, designs, and copyright materials like literacy, musical, photographic, and other artistic works. Therefore, I want you to understand one very important concept here. Nowadays, the world is becoming a village. Because of the advancement of technology, because of the existence of internet, nowadays the world is becoming a village. Therefore, if there is a World Intellectual Property Organization is working properly, then a company which designs, which has inventions, trademarks in abroad, will get protection in another country. The owner or the inventor or the owner of the trademark or design in Indonesia may get protection for that design when selling its product to China, when selling its product to India. Therefore, World Intellectual Property Organization is playing a critical role in protecting products produced in different countries. Next slide, please. Okay, its mission, that means the mission of World Intellectual Property Organization is to lead the development of a balanced and effective international intellectual property system that enable innovations and creativity for the benefit of all. Protecting innovator, protecting the intellectual property helps for all countries, not only the advanced developed countries, but also developing countries. If we developing countries have our innovation, then because of the mission of the World Intellectual Property Organization, then our products will get protected. India becomes a member of World Product Organization in 1977. Ethiopia is joining a World Innovation Protected Organization in 1998. To become a member, a state must deposit an instrument of ratification or access with a Director General. Therefore, now I'm going to talk about my country case, because as the developing country, a country which is found in Africa, in East Africa, then we are introducing different products. We are having different innovations, designs, process, especially in the manufacturing sector. Therefore, the Ethiopian Intellectual Property Office is there, which is formed under the proclamation number 320/2003 to administer all intellectual property rights. Therefore, this is very important. Now, I would like to share my country experience, because since this is an international webinar, understanding the developing countries, especially the African perspective, is very important for Indonesia. Therefore, I would like to share my country experience. Novita, could you go to the next slide? Okay. These are the types of intellectual property rights in Ethiopia. There is a copyright protection, there is a patent, there is a trademark, there is an industrial design, as well as trade secret protection. These are the protections that are available in my country. Now, I would like to see each one by one. Could you go to the next slide, ma'am? Next slide, please. Novita. Next slide.
This has a problem. Wait, because Novita has a problem with their phone, so they cannot share. Can you wait a minute? Oh.
Because as a developing country, these are the intellectual property rights that the owners. Okay, thank you. What is intellectual property? That is copyright. Copyright is a legal term used to describe the right that a creator have over their literacy or artistic work. This copyright work covered by copyright ranges from books, music, paintings, sculptures, films, computer programs, databases, advertisements, maps, and technical drawings. Therefore, in my country, Ethiopia, there is a protection for these products. Therefore, we will get protection. Next slide, please. Okay. Next slide. Okay, thank you. The concept of copyright was first. Thank you. Thank you. The concept of copyright first was developed in England, and the Berlin Convention, administered by the World Intellectual Property Organization, sets a minimum state of standard for copyright. Therefore, depending on that proclamation, in most of the world, the default length of copyright is the life of the author plus 50 years to 70 years. Therefore, this is a very important protection for companies. Therefore, it helps the owner in order to get protection to the life of the owner plus 70 years. But in India, the copyright ranges life for 60 years. I think about 60 years in Indonesia also. In Ethiopia, copyright ranges for life plus 50 years. Therefore, this is the duration for copyright protection. Next slide, please.
Just a moment, sir. For my colleagues will helping for the share screen. Yeah, just a moment. Yeah, just a few minutes.
Okay. Next slide. Okay. What is the case? Therefore, in Ethiopia, the copyright proclamation was amended in 2014, and I tried to see the case in Indonesia. And in 1957, protected original literacy, dramatic, musical, and artistic works, and cinematographic films and sound recordings was authorized in the 2014 proclamation. Next slide, please. Okay, the other one is patents. What is patent protection? Patent is an exclusive right granted for an invention. A patent provides the patent owner with the right to decide how or whether the invention can be used by others. Therefore, the patent owner makes technical information about the invention publicly available in the published patent document. Therefore, this is very important for the inventor, that what are the information that he wants to allow. Therefore, there's a patent protection. If I put a standard to be protected, and if I put a standard to be used by others, then I can put as per my judgment. Could you go to next slide? Okay. As of 2020, the number of patent applications worldwide amounts to be 3.2 million. Therefore, after 4 years, there's a growth. But since there is a problem of data for updated data regarding this, I could not get for this now. In 2020, China had the most patented grants, about 530,127 patent grants, while the United States has 351,993 granted patents. Imagine, this patent protection is very much in number, that shows that these companies have an advantage because they have already protected most of their items, most of their innovations. Therefore, if we have a protection for our products, then we will get more advantage. What? Next slide, please. The patent law of Ethiopia is governed by proclamation number 12395, together with the Council of Ministers, that the patent law regulates invention, minor invention, utility models, and industrial design from 10 to 20 years. Look, if you have a utility model or invention, then you will get protection for 10 up to 20 years, depending on the nature of the product. Therefore, imagine, this is a big number. Could you go to next slide, please? Okay, the other one is trademark. As we all know, the business is now becoming the language of the world. A trademark is a symbol or a sign capable of distinguishing the goods or services of one enterprise from another, those of other enterprises. Therefore, trademark is very important. For my audience, I would like to share one of my experience. When I purchased Adidas product, because internationally, Adidas product is very known in producing quality sportswear, but some companies which are using the same name, Adidas, in order to sell their less quality products in the name of Adidas. Therefore, they do this in order to get easy market penetration. If they start the business with a new brand, it may take time to penetrate the market. Therefore, they are copying the other known company products. Since they are not allowed to use the same name, they use another name. Adidas, A-D-D-I-D-A-S, is substituted with another Adibas, A-D-I-B-A-S. They are cheating. I mean, they are just using the synonymous symbols and names in order to easily penetrate the market. Therefore, some companies are doing this, but still
the trademark protection is there. Imagine what if the trademark is not there? Adidas will be used by most of the companies which are producing less quality products. Since it is not allowed to use the same name Adidas, then others are using already similar synonymous names or similar terms. Therefore, a trademark may include a word, name, symbol, distinguishing unique device or any combinations thereof adopted and used by a manufacturer or a merchant to identify his goods and distinguish them from the manufacturer sold by others. Therefore, this trademark helps in order to differentiate one company product to another product. We can see that there are different computer products, HP, Lenovo, Dell, Acer. These are some of the international known brands which are produced and sold in my country, Ethiopia. Therefore, if these brands are used, then we can easily differentiate which company product is producing this brand, and therefore we can easily differentiate one company product to another. Next slide, please. Okay, next slide, next slide. Next, I would like to finish just, okay. The other is industrial design. Industrial design is a process of design applied to physical products that are to be manufactured by mass production. I know there are a lot of international companies which are producing products in mass. They're having different designs of products. They are having different designs as well as models of products. Therefore, in addition to the product, the design itself has to get protection. Because, for example, when we see the Boeing, the Starbucks, and other companies, they are producing different design models, as well as different designs for their plane. Therefore, Boeing company may have different designs. Toyota company may have different designs. Therefore, if there is no protection for that design, then another company can imitate that design. Therefore, there is an international protection for industrial designs, which we call industrial design. Therefore, the industrial design is a process of design applied to physical products that are to be manufactured by mass production. It constitutes the ornamental or aesthetical aspect of an article. A design may consist 3 dimensions, such as shape or sphere of an article, or 2-dimensional feature, a pattern, line, or color. Therefore, the design has to be patented. That's what we call industrial design. Next slide, please. Okay. The industrial design is applied in Ethiopia, in developing country. I think it will be important for Indonesia also. I have seen too much article about Indonesia. They have also applied industrial design. It's good. Therefore, industrial design in Ethiopia focus on inventions and industrial design. There's a proclamation which was produced in 1995. Therefore, a design registration is protected for 5 years. Actually, the name, I mean, the term, the duration may vary from country to country. But in my country, the design is protected for 5 years, and it is subject to renewal for 2 terms. It will be renewed. It will be renewed. But after 10 years, since that company is expected to produce another design, a better design, then the previous design will not get protected. That is the issue in my country. What is the criteria for industrial design protection? It's very important. Even this is very important for Indonesia. The first one is originality. That design must be original. The second one is industrial applicability. Is it technically feasible? Is it industrially applicable? That if it is so, it will get industrial design protection. And it should not get contrary to the public moral. This is the case in my country. If that design contrary to my culture, my public's moral, then it will not get approval. Next slide, please. Okay. The other one is trade secrets. As an international intellectual property speaker, I recommend trade secrets should get protection also. Because when company produces a product, it may pass a lot of research and development budget. It may pass through a lot of scientists engaged in that trade products. In order to produce that product, they may come up with different formula, different research. Therefore, that trade secret has to get protection. Therefore, trade secrets are intellectual property rights on confidential information which may be sold or licensed. Therefore, the one who has that secret can sell or can transfer or can license to another person. Therefore, that secret has to be protected. The unauthorized acquisition or use or disclosure of such secret information in a manner contrary to honest commercial practice by others is regarded as unfair practice and a violation of the trade secret protection. As we know, like companies like Coca-Cola, they may not easily disclose the formula that they're applying in order to produce their products. Therefore, there should be a protection, not only for manufacturing products, but also there should be a security and protection for specialized services, for standardization. Therefore, this is also another trade secret. Could you go to next slide? Next slide, next. Okay. Now, what is intellectual property rights and economic development? This is very important that I want to talk. Intellectual property right concept is very important because it has a linkage or association with economic development. While the United States is a leading advocate of intellectual property protection, a bloc of countries, especially developing countries, led by India and including many host countries like USA admissions, denounces the intellectual property system as a new form of colonial exploitation designed to protect corporate interests in the world at the expense of the developing world. As I mentioned earlier, because these developing countries
Dr. Kidney, are you here?
Moreover, a recent study by a World Bank suggests that the major beneficiaries of intellectual property rights in terms of enhanced value of patent are developing countries, with USA alone made an annual gain of US about 20 billion, while developing countries face an annual loss of 7.5 billion for license. Therefore, since still this intellectual property right is practiced by many countries, and since it has an advantage, therefore, what I want to tell you here is when we produce a product, when we innovate, when we introduce, we have to get protection. We have to get recorded. Because unless we get recorded or protection for our innovation, though we are lagging behind, then in the near future, unless we do on that, we work on that, we may lag behind in the future also. Therefore, what I want to commend you is, since the Indonesian government has an intellectual property right protection, then a company, all companies, not only big companies, small companies has to get a protection, because that protection has value for the protector as well as for the country, Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay. There is a fair and consistent relationship between the strengths of intellectual property right and per capita income. Intellectual property is a key factor in promoting economic development. Therefore, estimates show that intellectual property rights protection is favorable to increase the flow of foreign technologies embedded in a capital goods in the case of developing countries. They also show the existence of a positive and significant effect of freedom to trade internationally on technology transfer through international trade. Therefore, this international trade is there is an intellectual property right is there. Therefore, when we market abroad, when we go to the international market, if we have a protected right, then we will get what? Economic development. Therefore, my concern here is
Oke, ya, mohon maaf sebelumnya untuk Dr. Kindia ya ada sedikit technical issue atau sinyalnya hilang. Ya, mungkin kita bisa melanjutkan dulu ke the second speaker untuk Bu Aftuqa. Ya, ya, Bu.
Yes, Novita.
Bu Aftuqa bisa dimulai presentasinya. Terima kasih.
Okay, thank you. Hello everyone, my name is Aftuqa Sholikatur Rohmania as a lecturer of STEKOM University. Thank you for the opportunity given to me. Thank you, the counselor of the STEKOM University, Dr. Teguh Santoso, all the speaker of today, and of course all the audience of today's webinar. I'm very happy able to present material about digital transformation in the business landscape, best practice and case study. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I title my presentation is the changing landscape of digital transformation, impact of industry 4.0, case study in supply chain. COVID-19 profoundly impact the adaptability and recently of supply chain global, according to Queiroz et al. 2022, affecting the movement of goods and services international, according to Kaido et al. 2021. the lack of clarity and focus on global health has inevitable exert bad uncertainty in the supply chain. However, it has also accelerated investment in technology such as automation and digitalization in a bid to improve efficiency, identify area for cost saving, and future proof from again potential shock and uncertainty, according to Akbar et al. 2022. And in the 2018, Deloitte conducted a global survey which highlighted the significance of Industry 4.0 technology in driving improvement with supply chain, especially in the realm of workplace safety. The implementation of this technology has also had a positive impact on the external improvement, which reduces energy and water use, the decreased travel and new opportunity for recycle and repurpose material. This finding, like with Liao et al. 2018, work which demonstrate and substantial shift in the working improvement of supply chain as a result of the introduction of self-regulating utility that manage workloads without human intervention. And the next slide. And the next slide, the integrate of emerging technology play a critical role in digital supply chain as they enable the generation, accumulation, and interpretation of vast quantity of data for more efficient operation across diverse industries. For example, experimentation is currently happening with artificial intelligence solution ChatGPT to investigate its potential to communication directly with a customer and respond to tracking inquiries without the need for human intervention. When considering supply chain for 4.0 strategy, in addition to technology as the key lever of digital transformation, it is also important to include the managerial and research capability required for a successful rollout of this transformation process. Okay, Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0 has emerged from the developed country that have already perfect and advanced early industrial states, resulting in a rise in automation and information and communication technology utilization. Et al. According to Zhang et al. 2022. Consequently, there is considerable disparity in the adoption of Industrial 4.0 in developing nations owing to the underdeveloped nature of the proceeding industrial states. This is according to Nogar et al. 2018. And developing country, according to Lutra and Mangla et al. 2018, have limited information on adoption level, therefore change and opportunity around industry 4.0. And recognizing the importance of Industry 3.0, propose a national strategy for digital transformation with six important solutions. Number one, raise the capacity for policy formulation. Number two, develop human research. Number three, develop infrastructure for database and interconnection. Number four, develop a governance. Number five, advance national innovation capability, and most importantly, and number six, invest in appropriate Industry 4.0 technology. And diffusion of innovation as conceptual lines or DOI. The national of implementation is aligned with the concept of adoption referred to by Damanpur 1991 as the generation, development, and implementation of technology. In addition to this innovation is a critical component of a firm's competitiveness and multi-stage process for EG to new or improved product and or service. From our constantly researching for innovative approach in their supply chain network to maintain their competitive advance and innovative their business model. Diffusion is a time-based process where innovation is communicated via a particular channel to member of a social system. And the main actor of diffusion of innovation, number one, innovator or technologist. It is first to experiment and invest in new idea or concept. Number two, early adopter or visionaries. It is interested in new technology and in instituting their utility as a role model. And number three, early majority or pragmatist. It is have to the way for use of innovation as part of the general population. And number four, late majority or conservative. It is following the early majority and adopting the innovation. And number five, largest or spectis. It is risk averse in adopting the innovation for set to back into leasing it. And then picture is adopted from regard 1995. Innovator, it is 10% early adopter or visionaries. It is 15% early majority or pragmatist. It is 90%, and late majority or conservative. It is 15%, and spectis it is 10%. These are adoptive for records. And the next, the value of investing in emerging industry 4.0 technology. Industry 4.0 is the fourth industrial revolution that is characterized by the integration of advanced technology. It's encompasses the cyber-physical system that enables smart manufacturing and autonomous system, which are predicted to significantly disrupt the future of the global trade and supply chain. Industry 4.0 is also used to describe the digital transformation toward new level of control and management in the life cycle of product. It emphasizes the automation, interconnectivity, and data exchange of mechanisms, equipment, and device, leading to improve efficiency, productivity, and responsiveness, according to Melkie at 2022. And Industry 4.0 aims to create smart factories and supply chain that are flexible, adaptable, and responsive to customer needs and market changes. This latter definition will be applied for the purpose of the study. Allied to Industrial 4.0 are the development and markets of non-digital technology, 3D printing, advanced robotic, AI, AV, PDE, drones, IoT, blockchain, and VR on AR. For instance, in creating advanced robotic, AI, and IoT, can lead to the creation of smart factor that are more efficient and flexible. Robot can take on repetitive and hazardous tasks, while IoT can optimize process and make data-driven discussion, resulting in increased productivity, improvement quality, and reduced costs. And 3D printing, AV, and drones can work together to enhance supply chain logistics. 3D printing can produce spare parts on demand, while EV and drones can deliver them rapidly and effectively, reducing lead time and achieving customer satisfaction. Additionally, BDA and blockchain can be integrated to establish a more transparent and secure supply chain. BDA can monitor and analyze data across the supply chain, while blockchain can secure and streamline transaction. This technology can help reduce fraud, increase trust, and improvement supply chain visibility. Okay, the digitalization and the impact on supply chain management. Supply chain are not only vital in the end-to-end production involved in moving goods, but are rapidly transformation the way organization are connecting, collaborating, and sharing information, consequently changing the decision-making process, according to her et al. 2023. The permission and importance of technology adoption in supply chain management are widely recognized in terms of facilitating enhanced performance and organization competitiveness. Therefore, the progress toward a digital supply chain can have a significant impact and opportunity for change, where the adoption of new technology can help facilitate smooth transformation to digitalization. And new industry 4.0 technology not only provide a helicopter view of operation and the logistic chain, but through greater transparency of process and data set allow for more effective control. According to Mala et al. 2021, this future allow informed discussion to be made via real-time information sheet, affording both reactive and proactive consideration, promoting agility and developing a venue toward recentness. Consequently, end user demand will be effectively and efficiently communicate across the supply chain and vice versa, creating better connected across the different organization entities and more impactful product or service delivery. Similarly, technology adoption drive competition between supply chain, following digital development that are customer focused and inevitable but streamingly and its hang advancement to current process. Okay, thank you to all for you of you for listening to my presentation.
Okay, thank you so much for the wonderful presentation, Miss Aftuqa. Yeah, for our participant, if you have any question for the speaker, please add them to the chat or you can raise your hand. First question, we have question from participant in the Zoom. For Miss Aftuqa, what is the impact of Industry 4.0 on supply chain process, and how does digital transformation affect supply chain performance? This question from Miss Kinan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Novita. Um, what what is the impact of Industry 4.0 on supply chain process? The benefit of supply chain for 4.0 include handling various conception with all the needs for any human involvement, providing all stakeholders the opportunity to make informed decision based on the some data. This is real-time transparency enable company to respond more swiftly to disruption and minimize risk. Okay, and number two, how does digital transformation affect supply chain performance? Digital supply chain uh, sub, can promote supply chain visibility and enable flexible adjustment of structure, organization, and capability, improvement product quality, and enhance supply chain efficiency will helping the supply chain adjustment recently. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Miss Aftuqa, for the answer.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much for answering. I think it's very clear answer from Professor. Yeah. Okay, before I close this event, for all participants, please open your camera. I will take a picture on the count of three. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, another one, 1, 2, 3. Smile. Thank you. Thank you for your keen cooperation. Finally, we come to the end of webinar today. We would like to thank you for our speaker for the wonderful information and sharing your knowledge. We hope this information will be beneficial for all participants. At least we hope to have more collaboration in the future with all of you. The webinar for today and here. We hope to see you soon. Thank you and have a nice day. Thank you so much for Miss Aftuqa and goodbye.